Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another video. Can you see that ring? It says Dad. That was given to me by my daughter, who isn't with us anymore. She passed away in 2007 at the age 22. The circumstances of her death are private, but I'll tell you that she was struggling big time. If you've lost a child, you know how terrible that experience is. It affects you in a way you never expected, and it's something you cannot plan for. I said earlier in the video that I haven't mentioned a lot of things about my personal life in my videos. Well, that's one thing I haven't mentioned up to this point. People that lose a child know what suffering is about. Things you didn't know about me, that would fall under that classification. Now, I never want to be rude to anyone in comments when it comes to my teachings, when I compare, say, Bible verses to what we know today as a result of, say, psychology and neuroscience. And I just don't look something up and say, okay, I'm going to put this in a video. One, I'm a student, self-taught in neuroscience. A lot of time and a lot of hours learning neuroscience. I mentioned the other day to watch that video, What the Bleep Do We Know? And two, as far as religion goes and the Bible, I've read the Bible from front to back 5 times. One time I read it in 26 days. That's all I did. I've also studied translations from Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic to English. I've studied them for years. And what I'm about to say next, you don't have to believe me, but you could investigate it yourself. In those translations from Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic, there were words and complete sentences that were omitted from the Bible or replaced by the translators with an English word that they felt was appropriate to replace Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic. And a lot of times, that word was misleading. To understand what's written in the Bible is to understand the original texts, the Greek text, the Hebrew text, the Aramaic text, what they said and what it was translated to. The other item of importance is, and I'm talking about the New Testament now, when you refer to those other books, not the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because if you got what's called a red letter Bible, anything that was associated with what Jesus said is in red letters in those four Gospels. So, referring to the other books in the New Testament written by different people, I was taught, number one, who is giving that message. Like Apostle Paul, Peter, James, and so on. Who is the person giving that message? Number one. What were they about? What's their background? It's important. Number two, who were the people they were speaking to? The Thessalonians, the Ephesians, the Corinthians. Who were those people? At that moment in time, who were those people? And number three, at that time in history, what were those people going through? Because the messenger had a motive to give that teaching. In the book of Corinthians or Thessalonians or Ephesians, the teacher had a motive to address what was happening to those people at that time. And of course, I've studied many spiritual paths and spiritual ways. Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, the writings of Confucius, the Stoics, and many spiritual masters today. And I say that because I went from having knowledge of the Bible to having knowledge of these teachings from the masters in those spiritual paths I mentioned. I compared what it was like, what happened when I applied the teachings from the Bible, and what it's like, what happened and what it's like now that I've applied those teachings from spiritual paths from those masters, and I could compare them and compare the results. What's the point of me telling you all of this? Losing a child, studying neuroscience, studying the Bible, studying ancient teachings that were around thousands of years before Jesus was around, and studying the masters today. What's the point? The point is, those teachings helped improve my quality of life. The teachings, the ancient teachings from those spiritual paths, Buddhism, Sufism, Hinduism, the Tao, the Stoics, the studies of the teachings of Confucius. Those teachings, along with teachings from the masters today, helped improve my quality of life, but most important, changed my personality. I had a spiritual awakening. I still have them. Epiphanies, we could call them. Psychic changes, profound personality changes. That's what those ancient teachings did for me. But most important is they taught me how to deal with suffering. How to deal with suffering. and to heal. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that, make it an amazing life. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So, have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for leaving comments. I appreciate you. I'll see you later.